Good morning, Alexis. Hello, everybody. We're going to start in a minute here. Give some time for more people to jump on. Very good, Brady. Up is a preposition. That's correct. Today is a good day. Math isn't going to be too hard today. Difference of two squares is pretty easy. Again, we are just kind of going over special cases for factoring that can make your life easy. So if you can recognize them, they make it easy. However, you could always just factor these things too, or FOIL, I'm sorry. Whichever way you're going. I guess we're factoring these today. So today we are factoring the difference of two squares. So again, it's a difference of two squares because you have something squared here and something squared here, and you're subtracting them to get the difference. So whenever you see something set up like this, you start thinking difference of two squares, and you can just factor it out by writing it in this format. So for example, if you have x squared minus 64, you know this here, your a factor that's in front of this x, the coefficient is a 1, that's a perfect square. And you know that 64 is a perfect square. So you can write it as 1x plus 8, which is the square root of 64, plus or minus 8, and 1x minus 8. So you get 1 for each. You don't need the 1 because it's a coefficient of 1, and 1 times x is just x. So it just multiplies out like that. I throw the 1 in there because your book separates this into two different cases. You have cases where your a value equals 1, and then you have cases where your a value does not equal 1. So this here would be an example of a equaling 1 because there's a 1 in front of there. The other case you're going to get is a does not equal 1, so we can go ahead and look at something like that. And again, it's done pretty much the same way. You just got to take the square root of both sides now. So here you're going to be looking at maybe 4x squared minus 49. In this case, you're going to recognize it as this because this here is a perfect square and this here is a perfect square. So you got to look for the perfect squares. I know the square root of 4 is plus or minus 2 as my speakers come up. Sorry about that. I know the square root of 4 is positive and negative 2, and I know the square root of 49 is positive and negative 7. So in this case, you're going to take the square root of both of these. So we already did that. And you're going to write it in this format. The 4 is your a value, so 2 is going to go with your x. And then you have plus or minus 7. So you got that one. And you have that one. Those are your two sets. And if you do factor these, you could factor them out to check it or FOIL it. So you can do that times that times that. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. And then 2x times -7 gives you a negative 14x. And then you'll see here, this is where your x's cancel because you're getting a positive 14x here. And then you're getting your negative 49. So when you combine like terms, these are going to cancel. And you get 4x squared minus 49. So yeah, difference of two squares, not too difficult at all, really. Just building off of what we did yesterday. So you kind of had a brush lesson yesterday, and you're getting the second half of it today. But yeah, your goal here is to finish yesterday's work. So make sure you get that in. Emmett's a Bichon. Yeah, you're not going to meet Emmett. So your assignment from yesterday was page 493, 10 through 36. And that's going back to what we did yesterday as well. So you have, well, you're doing today's stuff, difference of two squares, and yesterday you looked at factoring perfect squares. But yeah, this is your assignment. It is due today. You had yesterday to work on some of it. But that's what you're doing. If anybody wants me to do any problems, I can stay on and help you out there, but it's really, difference of two squares here is not difficult. This is the end of the chapter. I'm sorry, we have factoring by grouping tomorrow, and then it's the end of the chapter. So be prepared to have a test. I want to say it's scheduled for Friday. So be aware of that. We will do some review tomorrow, and we'll do some review Thursday. And your test will be Friday, and it's going to cover everything on the chapter. So that's from stuff we had when we were actually meeting in person. And Audrey has a question on 11. We can do 11 real quick. So number 11. We'll walk Audrey to number 11. Number 11 says 64 r squared minus 144r plus 81. This here you need to check to see, is this a perfect square? Before you can do anything, you got to make sure it's a perfect square, and that needs to fit two criteria. One, your A and C terms are perfect squares, and in this case we have 64 as A and 81 as C. So the square root of 64 equals plus or minus 8, and the square root of 81 equals plus or minus 9. So it meets this criteria. We're good there. Our second criteria that it has to meet is the B term equal to 2 times factor of A times factor of B. So in other words, does 144 equal 2 times factor of A being 8 times a factor of B being 9? Is this true? And that is true. 2 times 8 is 116. 116 times 9 gives you the 1. I'm sorry, 2 times 8 is 16. 16 times 9 gives you the 114. So this is true, so it meets this criteria as well. So once you note that it meets both these criterias, it is a perfect square. So what you're going to do is you're going to write it as in the format of the perfect square, which is hold on, let me look it up. We want, this is negative, so this is going to be negative b squared. So that's what you want. If this was positive, then that would be a plus sign. But here, our a value is going to be squared. So here we're going to take the square root of it, so that's going to be 8. So here we have 8r minus, and then square root of b is 9 squared. So this here is your final answer. Again, you can probably do these two steps in your head. You don't have to show much work. You can just probably go right from here to here. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. As you work on that, I'm going to talk science for a bit. So right now you are still in Chapter 5 for science. And this is on option C already. So Chapter 5, science for this week. So this week you have 3 assignments to do for me in science. 1, I would like your projects done. 2, I would like your key term quiz done, which is in your Google Classroom already. And 3, I would like you to take your test, which is also in the Google Classroom. And it's in the setup, it's in a form. It's in a forms, so you can click through it. It's all multiple choice, and it should give you your grade at the end of it. But these are the 3 things I need by Friday for science. I will unlock Chapter 6 this weekend. So you'll have that for Monday. You can reference that over there. I am going to help Gabby with number 31. 31 says 3m squared minus 12. Okay. So going back to the beginning of this chapter, the first thing you actually want to do here is factor out a 3. So I'm going to divide all of this by 3. And that's going to leave me with 3 times m squared minus 4. And then you're going to look at factoring just this section here. So hopefully that's where you're getting a bit confused, Gabby, but yeah, just keep an eye out for things that you can factor out. You can factor out that 3. So over here, we're going to factor the m squared minus 4, which is going to turn into m minus 4, m plus 4. Oh, I'm sorry, not 4. We need to take the square root of that. M minus 2 and m plus 2, and then that's all going to be multiplied by 3. So again, the square root of 4 gives you plus or minus 2. Can you put the project options in the Google Classroom? Your sheet should be on my website, Elsa, but I will post it in there as well if it helps you out. Just let me take a note here. And I will post those when I'm done with the live stream. Yeah, Gabby, I'm pretty sure you just didn't factor out the 3 at the front. But yeah, just keep an eye out for things that you can factor out like that. Any other questions about anything? Are you going to out the key term quiz on today? Are you going to put out the key quiz? I thought I already posted the key term quiz. I'm going to double check that. If not, I will post it after this live stream. I don't have that posted, you're right. So I'll take a note of that. So I'll get that out. Any other questions on the assignment for today? Everyone's still working on it. All right. Well, your homework is 10 through 36. So get that to me by the end of the day or tomorrow morning. Oh, can I do 25? Yeah, I can do 25. And as always, if you have questions other than as you're going through them, you can email me and I can make you a quick video on how to do it. So 25, you have 4m squared minus 81. Again, this is a that's not right, is it? I don't know why I wrote an 8 there. It's 4m squared minus 81. You can't do it if there's an 8 there. It's not a perfect square. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the square root of both your terms. So find the square root of both of those. So the square root of 4 equals plus or minus 2, and the square root of 81 equals plus or minus 9. And then you just write it in the right form. 4m squared minus 9 and 4m squared plus 9. And if you factored it, you'd find that things were canceling and you'd get that. Oh, I'm sorry, Adam. We are using 2 here. Yeah, we're using this. We're using this number, sorry. That number goes there, this number goes here. Good catch. But yeah, that would be 2, not the 4. Sorry about that. Just so you are aware, which you probably are, this is the start of a new quarter, so this is the last quarter we have together. Make it your best one yet, I guess, so you get to start over with grades and stuff like that. If I make a Dropbox for something, please be using it. That's the easiest way for me to keep things organized. If you do email me things, don't be surprised if I ask you to email it again. If I can't find it. So be aware of that. If there are no other questions, you can continue working on that. I see a lot of you are getting that done right now, which is great. I would like any questions emailed to me, and I can send you a video on how to solve it, or mistakes that are pretty common that you might be making there. So with that, I'm going to end the stream there and let you continue working on your assignment, and just assume if you have questions, you're going to email me. Thank you and have a good day. Make sure you get outside some today. And yeah, I'll hear from you later. So long.